Apple silently updated its Mac lineup with a new chip and new laptops. It's an interesting update because there's more than just processor updates. There is a new Mac Mini model which I think is the most eye-catching announcement of today. I can see myself wanting the new Mac Mini model. Why is that? And what all Apple announced today coming up. Let's start with the obvious. There was an M2 MacBook Air and there was a 13-inch M2 MacBook Pro. The next natural update was to the Mac Minis. Apple announced the new M2 Mac Mini today. There are no changes to the design, it's the same as the last model and even has the exact same ports. With M2 processor, you get a 20% performance boost over M1 and increased memory bandwidth of 100 Gbps. M2 also has ProRes acceleration, which might benefit video editing. You might know that I have been using M1 Mac Mini for more than a year now and couldn't be happier about the price for the performance. That is getting even better with the M2 Mac Mini because the M1 Mac Mini started at $699 for the base model, but the M2 Mac Mini is starting at $599 or 60,000 rupees. At $599, the machine is a bargain for what it can do. Next, Apple announced their two new Pro chips based out of M2. The M2 Pro and the M2 Max chips. These are aimed at content creators and professionals who need a little more power and performance. The M2 Pro and M2 Max are based out of M2 chip architecture with more CPU and GPU cores when compared to the M1 Pro and M1 Max processors. Here's a quick spec list of what you should know about the M2 Pro and M2 Max chips. I'll also put M1 Pro and M1 Max chips numbers for comparison. The spec that I found most exciting was the new chip can now support up to 96 GB of memory on the Max version. That is insane on a home computer. You can expect significant improvements in performance if you already have the M1 Pro and Max versions. Apple also compared the performance against the Intel i9 Mac and consistently saw over 2x improvement across various workloads. So which Macs are getting these M2 Pro and M2 Max chips? First off, the 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pro. The 13-inch MacBook Pro is not getting a Pro chip. You can configure the MacBook Pros in M2 Pro or M2 Max chips with up to 12 core CPU, up to 38 GPU cores and up to 96 gigs of memory. The 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pros have the exact same design. Same display, same speakers and keyboard, and same ports as the last model. Since the chips are more power efficient, the MacBook Pros see a slightly better battery life of up to 22 hours. The MacBook Pro battery was already very good. Improving on that is commendable. The HDMI port now supports multi-channel audio out. This wasn't available in the previous model. So for musicians or music producers, this could be a noteworthy upgrade. The MacBook Pros also come with Wi-Fi 6E and Bluetooth 5.3. Be aware that even though your MacBook could support Wi-Fi 6E, your router and other network infrastructure might support only till Wi-Fi 6. Also, Wi-Fi 6E works out of new 6 GHz frequency, which is not approved for common use in India. So it might not be much of a use anyway in some places. In terms of pricing, it starts at exact same price as its last year model, which is at 2,000 for the 14-inch model and 2,500 for the 16-inch model. In India, it starts at 2 lakhs for the 14-inch model and 2,50,000 for the 16-inch model. And there is one more. Apple brought the M2 processor to the Mac Mini as well. This is the replacement to the higher-end Intel Mac Mini. The claim is M2 Pro Mac Mini is 14 times faster than the Intel Mac Mini, which is absurd. This could have been the machine which would have worked best for me. I really want to upgrade to M2 Pro Mac Mini, but I'm holding off because the M1 Mac Mini is completely capable of everything that I'm doing. It's just that there is very little buffer to do even more. But I'll think again when it hits the limit. For now, M1 Mac Mini all the way. The M2 Pro Mac Mini has 4 Thunderbolt 4 ports versus 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports in M1 Mac Mini. It also supports 3 8K external display, Wi-Fi 6E, Bluetooth 5.3 and high impedance microphone jack. You can spec it up to 32 GB memory and 8 TB of internal storage. It starts at $1,299 for the M2 Pro model or 1,30,000 in India. There'll be a M2 Max Studio later. But M2 Pro Mac Mini fills an important gap for desktop users who want a little more power than the M2 Mac Mini. There is no M2 Max Mac Mini because that will require better thermal design and Apple might have reserved that for the Mac Studio. Anyways, that's about it for this video. I'll see you all in the next one. Please subscribe if you haven't. This is Anjana. Bye-bye.